Hello, my name is Joshua Horton. I am the lab coordinator for Microbiology Labs 4102 and 1102. I'll be going over the safety review for today. This basically kind of covers the introductory safety material for the lab. This is all very important that you complete and watch through the entire thing. It will be things that are involved in, say, quizzes or your lab practical, so make sure you guys pay attention. So, first things up. Often people walk in the lab and they're like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's okay, because the first thing we're going to do is talk about safety, which is the most important thing to do in this lab. That's, of course, why we have a safety lab retrieval. Okay, so what do you do first? Well, whenever you come in, the very first thing you want to do is put your belongings in the cubby that are over there on the side of the lab, right as you come in. Anything that's like a book bag, you don't want anything like jackets hanging off of chairs or anything like that. That's the most important thing. Now, the next most important thing is you're going to make sure to put any food that you have or water bottles outside of lab. So just don't bring them in, put them out there. Nobody's going to mess with them. You'll see my coffee out there or my water out there all the time. It's really common to do in labs. Go ahead and do that. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to mess with it. But that's very important not to bring anything into lab that you can eat. And big one that people forget are things like chewing gum or mints, so please don't do that as well. Lastly, wipe down the countertops with Cavicide. Now, at your tables, you guys will have these bottles of Cavicide. They'll look something like this. To clean off your workspace, all you'll do is take some Cavicide, spray it down a few times, and wipe down the countertop until it is nice and clean. Once it's dry, you'll take paper towels and throw them away at the waste paper bins that are at the ends of your guys' tables. All right, so if you guys have already done that, great. Next thing up we're going to do is our seating chart. Now, seating chart is actually scientific, in case you guys didn't know. It lets us ask the hard questions like, can I stand the person that you're sitting next to for an entire semester? And if that's not the case, you should probably move right now. And we won't judge you out loud. We'll just do it in our heads. No, it's fine. Make sure you guys are where you kind of want to be for the rest of the semester. We will, guys, situate you guys and get everything set up for your seating chart, and you will sign in where your seating chart place is, and that's where you'll be for the rest of the semester. Okay, Lab Archives. Very important tool. I don't like Lab Archives a bit. It's because this little symbol looks like a little robot eye. Lab Archives is the method by which we are doing all of our lab reports. It's got all of our information for the labs. It's got our areas where we submit our lab reports. It's very important that you guys are able to download and log on to this. Now, you guys don't have to use the app. You guys can access it through the web, or you can use the app. Either one's fine. If you guys are having trouble getting set up for that, let your TA know, and they will help you get squared away with that. You guys should have the link available that you can follow through the instructions in Canvas. So make sure you guys are on top of that. All right. So, most important thing with lab, safety stuff. Always make sure you're wearing proper lab attire. Now, what does proper lab attire look like? Well, proper lab attire contains a lot of things. So, first of all, you want to have closed-toed shoes, long pants, and long hair tied back. That's preferential. If you happen to have really long hair, it's recommended that you keep a hair tie in your drawer or your bin so that you can put it on in class. You don't want your hair falling into bacteria. Things that tend to violate this are things that are like open-toed shoes, so like those ballet slipper types up there, or tights that don't go all the way down to where your ankles are. So you got to go all the way down to the bottom of your shoes, or to the top of your shoes, I should say. You don't want to wear things like shorts, skirts, capris, etc. Hats are a no-no in the lab. Hats have a tendency to fall off into things, so if you guys have a hat, just leave it in your cubby. Crocs definitely shouldn't be worn in lab, and just not in general, really. Keep that in mind. Make sure you guys have appropriate lab attire on. One big thing, because of course it's incredibly hot still. I know some of you guys might have exercise class right before this or something like that, or you guys walk from camp to campus. If you have to wear shorts before you go to class, one of the things you can do is you can bring with you in your backpack a pair of sweatpants or scrub pants, put those on over the top of your shorts outside of lab, and then come in. And that will satisfy our needs for making sure that you have appropriate lab attire. If you don't have appropriate lab attire, one of the things that will be happening is that we will points off of your participation grade, and we'll send your undergrad change. So please make sure you guys are dressed for the lab appropriately. Okay, the next part, which is something that you wear in labs specifically, is proper protective equipment. Many of these things fall into different categories. The primary ones that we're going to be worried about are things like goggles, gloves, and lab coat. You guys don't have to wear a face mask in lab, but if you want to, if you have a need for your specific situation to wear a lab mask in lab, that's totally fine. Please just make sure not to be aware not to touch the mask at all when you are in lab. So for goggles, they should look something like these guys. They are a full face seal goggle that have little black vents pointed backwards on them. This prevents any splashes. If you splash something on here, it will have a really hard time getting liquid into your face. You want to avoid the ones that are kind of got open bits on them. So these ones have the vents pulled off. That is not acceptable for this lab. Or things like this, which are just impact glasses. They do not provide enough splash protection in lab. You can also have other variants, things like this that create a full face seal. They don't have vents in the same fashion, but they do create a full face seal, and that's what we care about. All right. Other things, nitrile gloves. They should be well-fitting. There's a whole bunch of different varieties, different colors, whatever you want. One box of gloves will probably do you the entire semester, but it might get a little tight, so you might want to get two. You also want to have your own set of gloves. If you share them with your lab partner, the problem is that they're not there that day, then you don't have gloves, and that's a problem. So make sure you guys have your own nitrile gloves. You will leave them here in your drawer when we assign you them. The last one is a full-length lab coat. It'll look not like mine, although if you want to wear mine, you can. The trick with that, though, is we have to leave it here. And at the end of the semester, it will just be disposed of, because normally we use these ones. So if you want to wear a full nice white lab coat like this, just be aware that you're going to have to get rid of it at the end of the semester. The other ones are these. There are disposable ones. These can be bought from the bookstore and lots of other places, but they are basic lab coats that are pretty durable, and they seem to last pretty well for the entire semester, so keep that in mind. If anything gets splashed on them or what have you, we can just replace them, so that's really easy. You can buy one from the bookstore. One should last you the entire semester, so keep that in mind. Okay, really important safety reminder. Always wear appropriate lab attire. This falls both under the lab attire that you're wearing, but also the proper protective equipment. If you don't have the right stuff on, if there is an accident in the lab, that's the surest way to get into a really bad situation. If you have the right stuff on, it minimizes the risks. Each part is designed to minimize risks. For example, for full-length pants, if something's going to drop in the lab and shatter and break, it's going to do it probably on the floor, and you don't want a bunch of exposed skin from your leg really close to the floor. All right. Cell phone stuff. For cell phones, you guys will get a Ziploc bag to place your phones in. This is how you take pictures. You guys will get a cell phone and be able to take pictures with it for different things in the lab, and also access lab archives as you need. To put your cell phone in the bag, you just open up the baggie, stick it in like this, seal it up, and then you're good to go. When you are ready to take your phone out at the end of class, though, you want to put it on the countertop, spray it down with Cavicide, wipe it down on both sides with paper towel, open it up carefully, and take out your phone with a non-gloved hand that's been cleaned already. So that's really important. And of course, you will save your Ziploc bags between classes because we just don't need to reuse them. Or we need to reuse them pretty regularly. So keep that in mind. So we will have Ziploc bags for you guys to do, and that'll be your Ziploc bag for the semester. All right. If you don't leave your cell phone in your bag, you take it out, you're taking pictures with it, with your gloved hand, things like that, we will decontaminate it. And our favorite way is to take it and put it in the autoclave. Autoclave is 121 degrees Celsius, which is hotter than boiling water. So don't do that because phones generally don't survive that process. So make sure you guys keep your cell phones in your bag. Don't take them out. OSHA stuff. So OSHA is an organization in the government that can basically come and inspect the lab at any point in time. They want to make sure that we have all the proper safety stuff in place. And even though you guys aren't technically workers, you guys are working in the lab, so you guys have to have the same knowledge of all of these things. If they come in, we're like, hey, where is this stuff? You guys need to know where it is. So you definitely need to know where this is in general. and I'll take you guys on a slight tour of the lab for this. All right. So if you guys look right here, here's the cubbies. Over here we have our spill kit. We won't generally need to use a spill kit, but it is actually quite useful to have in case something bad does happen, and we do have to have one, so you guys do have to know where it is. You guys also have to know about the first aid kit, which is right here. It also has plenty of band-aids in it. If you have a small open wound and need to cover it when you come to the lab, it's totally fine. We have excess, just let us know, and we will let you have one. We also have our SDS book over here, or MSDS, depending on which format you happen to currently use. So just keep that in mind. It has all the information for the chemicals in our lab. Next over here we have our incubators. This is where you guys will put your stuff when you guys are ready to incubate it and grow bacteria. We'll assign one for your section, so just keep that in mind. Over here we have a special sink. Now we have lots of sinks here for washing hands. This one is unique because this one is only for washing eyeballs. So this one has this little guy right here. If you happen to get something splashed in your eyes, you'd flip them open and you'd push this little paddle and tons of water comes out very quickly. You hold your eyeballs there for about 5 to 10 minutes and rinse all the chemicals out, and then you should be good to go. This is incredibly unpleasant. I've tried it before, so you guys don't want to have this happen. Make sure you guys have your goggles on. So if you guys have your goggles on, you won't have this issue. All right. All the way over here, we have some other stuff. Most notably, we have our safety shower. Safety shower is right here. Safety shower is something that you'll only have to use if there is a sudden emergency in lab where you get a bunch of chemicals splashed on you. We generally don't work with chemicals large enough to warrant that reaction, but if they did, we'd have you come over here, take off the affected area of clothing, pull the handle, take off the affected area of the clothing, and start rinsing the chemicals off your body. Now, you only want to use this or pull on that handle unless your TA or I tell you to, because there is no drain in the floor. So it will destroy the floors. So we want to be very careful to only use this when we need to. So make sure you guys are aware of that. We also have over here our biohazard bag. This is where we put things like plates and other type of dry materials that we're putting and ready to autoclave. We also have over here our fire extinguisher. Now your TAs are trained on how to use the fire extinguisher. You don't have to use it if there was a fire, which would be really hard to generate in this lab, but if there was, your TAs would be able to handle it, but you guys do need to know where it is. We also have over here these red bins. Red bins are special. They are only for lab gloves, so make sure you guys only use them for disposing of lab gloves. Lastly, over in this area, we will keep an autoclave cart. It's probably being used by the autoclave right now, where we will dispose of any tube media that we use in the lab. We'll remind you guys that each time. All right, so that's the general safety stuff in the lab. We have one more item that's over here by the instructor's desk, which is the broken glass disposal box. If there's any glass that breaks in the lab, please let your TAs know right away, and then we will help you guys dispose of it properly. Don't just throw stuff in there without telling us. All right. Last little thing, double check that you were paying attention. There's a bunch of things to sign on lab archives. This needs to be done before you come to lab again. So make sure you guys roll through all of the assignments. There's safety-specific assignments and acknowledgments on lab archives. So make sure you guys fill those out, turn them in, and submit them on lab archives. On lab archives, there's a PowerPoint presentation stolen from Baylor's Environmental Health and Safety Department. These are the people that come in and inspect the lab and make sure that we're being safe. This is the basic biosafety training slideshow that we use for training at Baylor from EHS. I want you guys to make sure to go through that PowerPoint. It can be found on lab archives as well, but it's going to have a basic biosafety quiz that's located on Canvas. It's going to say Basic Biosafety Quiz 1. You've got to go through this and pass it with 100%. Please make sure you guys do that. It's a very important kind of test that you guys are focusing and paying attention to the safety procedures. You have to pass it with at least a 70. You can re-KP it if you don't pass, and you will get a 70 regardless of the next attempt. So just make sure you guys are aware of that. It's kind of a weird trick to make sure you guys keep taking it. If you guys run any problems, make sure you let your TAs know, and we'll help you guys figure that out. All right. guys have any questions? Well, you guys aren't here, so that's fine. Before you guys leave, make sure you guys clean the tables with Cavicide, just like we did at the start of lab. You guys want to always do it at the end of lab. You also want to, before you leave the lab, wash your hands. Now, we always want to wash our hands at the beginning of lab because we don't want to bring any bacteria from our outside environment to our inside working environment. We also want to do it always when we leave the lab. That's the number one way to prevent spread of disease and other issues in lab. So make sure you guys do that as well. And lastly, make sure you guys have a wonderful day. If you guys have any questions, make sure you let me or your TAs know.